friends, it's me, Stooky, your favorite YouTuber. This is a fact, backed by science. Wikipedia says so. NASA says so. Okay, I'm gonna stop stalling. So I finally finished the Storytime and the Speedpaint, which took me long enough. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago I made that comment, a week and a half ago. Anyways, before I start this video, I'd like to make a disclaimer that this video will go in depth about my accident. You know, the blood and the gore and the drama. You have been warned. So, to start things off, I'd like to give general background info. This happened in August of 2021, so I've had time to heal, about almost 3 years. But I still deal with phantom pains and real pain from time to time. The people involved in this story were my mom, my sister, and me. My mom decided that she wanted to take us three on a small camping trip before school started. A family bonding moment, you could say. However, my father couldn't come with us due to work. So we packed up our car, our stuff, and the homemade teardrop camper, which is really just a bed in a box on wheels, and drove. Now, the night prior, I had a very real feeling and nerve-wracking dream in third person, predicting my accident. I was just floating in the sky, watching this tree fall down on the canopy, on the camper, and some of the car. And I woke up. Now, you'd probably say, hey, Stooky, why didn't you go tell your mom you had this scary dream and that you didn't want to go? I kind of already complained to her and whined to her enough about not wanting to go. And I knew if I'd do it again, she'd probably yell at me and then I'd probably get privileges taken away. You know, being afraid and stuff like that. Anyways, we head up to the cabin and things are going pretty well. My mom didn't really think to look ahead in the weather for anything really bad. Of course, look at the week forecast to see, hey, it's gonna be raining. We might as well bring some raincoats. But that was pretty much it. We got up there, we set up our canopy, the camper, and the car. To get a better picture, I would draw you a diagram here. You see, here's my car facing to the left. Here's the little camper attached to the car, and here's the canopy. And the tree is kind of over here next to this well thingy here. So we had decided, once we started setting up, we were going to head down to a little creek nearby and spend some time playing in there and whatever, collecting rocks. And I hate collecting rocks. My mom loves collecting rocks. I hate it. But we collected some rocks, came back up, and it started to rain. And my mom goes, I think we should probably, finish setting up the rest of everything for tonight and get dinner ready and eat and stuff. And so we were like, okay, fine. We started getting ready for dinner. We started getting ready for bed because we knew that once we'd eat dinner, it would be pouring outside, so we were just going to lay in our respective sleeping spots. My mom and my sister were going to be sleeping in the glorified bed, and I was going to be sleeping in the back of the car. So we're getting ready for dinner, and I'm getting changed, and I'm enjoying some spicy Funyuns. That was my biggest loss, was the spicy Funyuns. Oh, sorry. That's a spoiler warning. I lost the Funyuns. Rest in peace, Funyuns. Anyways, I'm getting ready, I'm getting dressed, and rain's starting to pour, and wind's starting to pick up. And so my mom goes, yo, Stooky, get over here, hold down the canopy with me. And I go, okay. I really don't want to. I'd rather finish getting changed, because at this point I only had my t-shirt on. I hadn't got my pajama pants on yet. And she's like, just come over here and stand here, hold it down for a bit till the wind passes. And I'm like, okay, fine. I go over there and I hold down the canopy. Now, where I'm standing, I'm right next to the camper on the right side, and I'm at the corner of the canopy. I'm holding it down. Now, the wind's starting to pick up pretty bad, and I noticed, a lot of tree branches are falling, and stuff's just blowing everywhere. And the cabin right below us, I noticed, is just getting attacked by branches and whatever. And that's when I notice, well, this is memories right before I black out. But more or less blackout. I wasn't actually knocked out. But I see a tree, or something maybe a big branch. I can't remember fully what it was. I have a lot of memory gaps here. But I see something fall towards the neighbor's cabin, and I could have sworn I heard my mom say, look, there's a tree falling on the neighbor's cabin. And then everything goes black. Everything went black. Now, my memory gap is pretty long, maybe about an hour, 2 hours, but according to my mom, I wasn't knocked out. I was just dazed. So when the tree fell, it hit the canopy, dead center, and it hit the camper, dead center, more or less. It was more off to the right, I believe. But it hit, and my sister was in the camper at the time getting changed. So when the tree hit, it didn't hit her, but it hit the camper and scared her. And that camper was pretty good and dent. The door was closed when my sister was in, their little like latch door. So the latch door was bent up and open. It was insane. And the canopy fell, and the tree fell on the canopy. And my mom was pinned under the canopy. Now she was on the side, of course, but when the canopy fell, it kind of like was like squished or whatever. So she was just stuck under the canopy. And me, however, something hit my head. Something, we don't even know what it was to this day. We don't know if it was the camper door when it was twisted. We don't know if it was part of the canopy, like frame, part of the canopy frame that hit my head. But something hit my head and cut my head. And so there's a big scar going just off the left of my hairline. It goes back and it follows back like a curve. So it starts on the left, goes towards the middle, and then goes back to the left. But it goes back pretty far, almost to like the top of my ear. That's how long it is. It's about 6 inches or so. But whatever happened had hit and cut my head open. And so I was bleeding out. And by the time my mom had got out from under the camper, she noticed, she saw me and was obviously mortified. My face, I'm a very pale skin. I have very pale skin. So my face, not a single bit of skin could be seen. I was completely covered in blood. So that YouTube short was not a stretch. My face was completely covered in blood, and my jaw was dislocated. No, not dislocated in the sense that it was broken, but just popped out of the socket, which thank God it was just popped out of the socket and not broken. If it was broken, I would have had to got like metal plating and screws and whatever else my grandmother said. But my blood all over my face, jaw dislocated. I'm kind of sitting there crisscross, just wobbling back and forth, and kind of like this deep like moaning noise because I just got hit and I'm kind of knocked out. And my mom is freaking out, but I'm there, but she can't get me out because I'm too heavy, and the canopy, or there was something on top of me that she couldn't get me out. But she was like struggling to get me out, screaming my name, kind of scared, and she even told me that she was afraid that I was not gonna make it. And that, like, I'm not actually hurt by that. I know you assume I'd be hurt, like my mom didn't have faith in me. I completely understand where she's coming from. You see your child sitting there, covered in blood. You have every right to freak out and just like panic. And my sister, of course, is also freaking out. She's probably screaming, crying in the camper. And after a while, my mom can't get me out, and she's like, screw it. She goes over to the camper door, and she rips off the camper door. Mind you, there was pinned to a tree. She rips that door off its hinges, and she pulls my sister out, and she sends her up to where we were camping. It was a family cabin. It was an old rundown family cabin. That's why we brought our camper. So she sent my sister up to the porch of this old family cabin that was just like a yard and a half away from where we were camping. She sent my sister up there to calm down, and she was kind of like struggling. She went back to struggling, pulling me out, and she was like screaming and whatever. And the people in the cabin below us that I saw a tree fall on, those guys had to come up to me and my mom, but they came over and they helped my mom get me out from under the canopy and up onto the cabin porch. And we sat there, and that's when one or two of the guys, it might have been one of the guys, went down in their car, drove down the side of the mountain to this, it was like a hotel and a restaurant place people could stay at. He drove down there to call 911 because where we were camping, no cell service. Now you know why I hated it so much. I'm a homebody, and I'd rather just stay home with good Wi-Fi connection and a blanket. But where we were staying, no Wi-Fi connection, bad cell service. So we had to drive down the mountain to get to this hotel to call up 911. So my mom and me are with the other guys. I don't know how many guys there were, but there was like a few of them. It was my mom and me and my mom and these other guys were there, and my mom was pouring water over my head and trying to like wipe the blood off my face with a paper towel, but like I'm screaming. I don't remember any of this, but I was screaming and moaning and crying at the top of my lungs because, you know, it hurts like hell. I just got my head cut open. My jaw, I can't close it, and there's stuff in my face, like, I'm screaming. Bloody murder, literally. After a while, after like maybe a few minutes, the one guy comes back up with the owner of the hotel. And this lady my mom knows, we were friends, acquaintances, and she's also a nurse. Or something along those lines. She was in the field of being a doctor. Anyways, they got me into, it might have been one of the guys' car, one of the men's cars, because my sister took a separate car. Took maybe the lady that owned the hotel took her car. I'm not completely sure how that went. But my mom and me, the nice lady, and one of the other guys got in the car with us. And then my sister was with the other dudes who I think took the other lady's car. And we all drove down the mountain to where we would meet the ambulance, which was pretty far away. It was a pretty long drive because of where we were camping at and just the area around was terrible place to be in. Like trees had fell over on the roads and electric lines. It was like playing a game of, it was like playing Subway Surfers on the road, driving and dodging and weaving these trees and power lines. But I was in the back of the car, and this is the point where I've woken back up now. I'm back awake, barely. Everything was pitch black. My memory, I remember everything so crystal clear. Oh my word, it hurts. But I was sitting in the back seat with the lady next to me. My mom was in the passenger seat, and there was someone else driving. Was one of the guys driving. And I was in the back seat with the lady, and she's holding a bag of frozen broccoli to my head and a paper towel to like help with the bleeding and whatever. And I remember I'm waking up, crying, moaning, kind of sobbing. What's going on? What's happening? How are we gonna pay for this? Is my sister all right? Where's dad? Is mom all right? All these questions. And every time my mom's just answering me, yes, you're fine. It's fine. We'll figure it out. Yes, your dad and your sister are okay. Everyone's okay. I even remember asking if my cats were okay. My cats weren't even on the trip with me. But my mom's like, yes, everyone's okay. Everything's fine. And I'm asking, like, what happened? What happened? She goes, a tree fell on us. It's okay. Everything's fine. We're going to an ambulance. But I didn't ask these questions once. I asked these same exact questions, word for word, over and over again because of how just panicked I was. And everything hurt. I remember saying to my mom, I'm really tired. I want to go to sleep. And she goes, and the nurse lady goes, no, don't do that. Don't go to sleep. Stay with us. Stay with me, okay? And I was like fighting. I just wanted to sleep and rest my eyes, but there was the other part of me was like, if I fall asleep, I'm probably gonna die. So, against my better tired judgment, I stayed awake. And I remember at one point, this is like probably one of the most heartbreaking things. I remember at one point I probably looking in my mom's direction, saying to her, "I love you, Mom," and that had my mom breaking down in tears again, because she was like on the verge of tears talking to me, but then she started breaking down and sobbing again because I said that, because I thought I was gonna die. And I can't remember the last time I had said I love you to her before the accident. I can't remember, and this accident was almost 3 years ago. But that's that part, I think about it sometimes and I'm just like, wow, I really lost hope in my own will to live. But we're in the car. We're driving. We finally make it to the place where we're supposed to meet up. Now, I think, like, my memory's either a memory gap or I had fallen asleep or blacked out. But the next thing I remember, I'm in the ambulance and I'm with two other doctors or whatever. And everything's, oh gosh. I think I can see now. I mean, my memory says everything was white. Obviously, I'm in an ambulance. Everything was white. But I'm not completely sure how that, I don't know if it's my brain making up memories to like patch my missing memory, or if I was actually able to see now. But I do remember they were cutting off my pajama shirt and all my other clothing to get me to make sure I'm not physically hurt anywhere else, because we didn't know. That wasn't one of the biggest loss. The spicy Funyuns I lost, but I also lost my favorite pajama shirt. And that I know they saved my life, but still, I loved that shirt. Now it's in the trash. But they cut off the clothing off me. They were doing running checkups and whatever to make sure I was not physically hurt anybody else. And then they started just like, I think they might have put IVs in me at this point. I can't remember. And they put other stuff, but I had blacked out again. After this, I had blacked out. And, well, I say blacked out, just a memory gap. But I remember next, I'm waking up in the hospital, and I can see fully now, but everything's hurt. Everything hurt. My head feels really heavy. My head feels like really just woozy. And I look over to my side, and I see my sister and my mom are sitting next to me, and I'm in a gurney, and they're sitting next to me, like just a few feet away from me in this waiting room. And I'm laying here, and I'm like, what's going on? But I still can't talk because of my jaw. And my mom's like, it's okay, we're at the hospital, everything's fine. And I go, is Dad here? And she goes, yes, Dad's here, he's here, he'll be here soon. And I'm laying there, and the nurse comes up to me, and he goes, okay, I'm gonna put you to sleep again, and we're gonna fix you up, all right? And I was mortified. I was like, please don't put me to sleep again. I don't want to go to sleep again, because I was so afraid. I was so confused and afraid. I didn't want to be put to sleep. But as soon as he put something in either back of my hand or just in like where my elbow is, indent in my arm there. Put something there, and I was out. And this is another memory gap I have. I was out, obviously, but my mom said that what happened next is a nurse grabbed this thingy. This, like, I forget what it was, what she described it as. But what he did is he ran 13 staples across my scalp to patch together the skin. And he positioned himself between her and me in a way that she couldn't see him as he popped my jaw back into place. And then I woke up again. And this time I could talk, but my jaw really hurt, and my head was really, really heavy this time. And I look over my hand, and I see my hand's Play-Doh. And I go, what's this? And my sister had apparently walked over to me and given me the Play-Doh after I had been quote-unquote, fixed up. Something like that. I still can't remember when she gave me the Play-Doh, but it was something like that. We're just gonna say she gave me the Play-Doh after I was fixed up. But they rolled me out on the gurney. My dad was there by then. He had arrived there by then, but I was getting rolled out right away, so he didn't get a chance to talk to me then. But we rolled out, and I got put in this other room where they were running either they were waiting to get another room, they were waiting to get like a room ready for me to sleep in, or they were running more checks on me. Can't remember which it was, but I was there, and I was laying at the table, laying on this gurney thing, just completely mortified, because by now everything's caught up with me, my memories are caught up with me, and probably a bit of a TMI, but at this point I had been like 3 days on my period at the time, and so I was really embarrassed, because I was like, oh my word, there was a bunch of dudes and a bunch of male nurses around me, and I was bleeding out. Like, that's kind of embarrassing. In the long run, it's fine. It's literally like the least of my problems. But at that time, I was mortified and embarrassed. I was like, oh no, why in the world, out of all the times it's gonna happen to me, this happened to me now. But anyways, I'm laying in the bed, they run diagnostics on me, we do some more stuff, I'm there for about another hour, my dad comes in, he talks to me, but then he leaves again, and then they roll me upstairs and up to my room. Now, my room's really small, it's a waiting room, and it's really dark because it's night by now. It's obviously night, it's been like, maybe it's 2 or 3 in the morning, I can't even remember, it was dark. So I'm in the hospital room, and I'm laying on my bed, and both my hands have IVs in them, and there's something else attached to me, I forget what it was, but I still have scars on the back of my hand, 2 small dot scars from the IVs. And I lay in the bed, it's dark, parents come in, they talk to me, but then they decide that because it's been a long night for both of them, they're going to sleep, so they go to sleep. I wake up several times at night, just because of just being in pain and, traumatized, and my body's just been thrown off the schedule with everything. And I'm just there, laying in my bed, and I finally wake up again, and I look over and I see my parents are sleeping, but I roll through my head everything that happened, and then I remember the dream, and I kind of metaphorically hit myself, like, why did I not tell my mom? Why would I not tell her about this? This is like vital information. Why did I not tell her? And I still kind of beat myself up over it today, but honestly, it happened. it happened and there's nothing I can do about it. And you might call me a little weird for saying this, but I'm kind of glad I was where I was, because I play this instant through my head, and if I had been anywhere else, or if we had been any other configuration besides the one we were in, I think one of us would have died. Probably my sister or my mom, one of them would have died. And I wouldn't be able to live with myself if that were the case. So I don't ever wish the accident went any different, because I had no control over it. Quite frankly, my mom believes that whatever happened, for my religious folk out there, my mom and my family's religious, but like, she believes that whatever happened, God had protected me from whatever Satan's plan was to try and murder me and harm my family. I mean, he kind of succeeded a little bit, but I'm still alive, and I'm still walking, and I'm still breathing. I am living proof of almost dying. But yeah, I mean, it took my recovery was about a week or so. This was before school started. This was like a week or so before school started. So I didn't get out of school for this, sadly, but I was bed rest. I would lay on my couch. I think I was sleeping in my couch for a few days before I could finally go up into my bed, because at the time I was sleeping downstairs. My bedroom was downstairs at the time, and I was in a bunk bed, and I was on the top. So I was sleeping on the top of the bunk bed, and so my parents wouldn't let me climb up, because like, she can't climb up. She hurts herself. We'll reset her progress on healing. And I couldn't eat anything crunchy or any hard foods for a week, I think. Only soft foods like soup and applesauce. After I was allowed to get up out of my couch for more than just going to the bathroom or brushing my teeth, I would get up off of the couch after watching TV. I grab some Hershey Kisses, I put them in a little glass dish, and I microwave them, and I'd eat melted chocolate, because that was like one of the few things I could eat. But I spent for a while, I couldn't read or use a phone or an iPad or anything like that. I could only watch the TV because the TV was a safe distance. But because of my concussion, I obviously got a concussion from this. Because of my concussion, I wasn't allowed to do any of that for 3 days. So I would just watch TV and lay on the couch, watch TV, eat melted Hershey Kisses for about 3 or 4 days until I was allowed to eat softer foods. I wasn't allowed to eat hard foods until 2 weeks after, I think. Can't completely remember, but that was about 2 weeks after I could eat hard foods again. But that was my recovery. My dad had to help. My dad had, because my mom has bad low gourd tolerance and blood tolerance. My dad had to help me wash my hair and wash out my scalp and apply this it was almost you put that gel on your Band-Aids for when you have a cut. Kind of like that, but a lot more, I don't know how to describe it, a lot more scientifically, quote-unquote, advanced for healing my head. And I had those staples in for, I think, almost a month. I can't remember. Maybe it was less than that. I can't remember. It was a longer time than it was for me not allowed to eat hard foods. But they did take the staples out, and they didn't hurt. It felt really funny, but it didn't hurt. And the scar is still very much on my head. My hairline is messed up because of it. And the scar on my head is very sensitive to touch and to the sun. So if I'm out and if it gets sunburned, it's going to hurt a lot. Or if I hit my head too hard, it'll hurt a lot. I can feel it right now with my fingers, and it just hurts rubbing my fingers against it. Because, the hair's growing out of it right now. It still hurts. My jaw, if I move my jaw in the right way, or if I open my jaw too wide, I will feel crunching or a grinding because of the bone. It's not oh my word, you should go to the hospital, I think your jaw is broken. No, it's just because of how it was dislocated, there's probably chip stuff inside my jaw. But my jaw will hurt sometimes, at most random times too. But I'm doing better now. I'm still dealing with a lot of trauma from it. I still deal with anxiety, even though I'm not as traumatized as my sister was. My sister saw me covered in blood, and she's younger than me. She's 5 years younger than me. So she's real little. She was really little when this happened. She was still in elementary. Still not elementary now, but she was in elementary when this happened. She was a little kid. So my sister's obviously traumatized, terrified of storms. And I am too. Subconsciously, I'm mortified of storms. I try not to think about it too much. But like thunder, like the other day it was thundering outside and I was terrified. I scared myself. I looked out the window like, oh my word, I'm gonna die. But yeah, storms, rain, yeah, that stuff still terrifies me. Not as much terrifies my sister, but terrifies me definitely. Yeah, that's been pretty much my almost dying story. And this little speed paint, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry if this video is super long, my bad. And yeah, look at this cool art I did. Wow, so much talent. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Spooky out.